Yes, come. Good evening, Abhijit. Have a
Good
seat.
evening, sir. Thank you, sir.
So, Abhijit Sirohi,
Yes, sir.
Political Science and International Relations,
Yes, sir.
belong to Delhi,
Yes, sir.
and English Literature is your BA honors,
Yes, sir.
and you are fond of your playing and watching football,
Yes, sir.
quizzing,
Yes, sir.
following international relations.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, let me ask you this question. Uh, the child rapes have become very, very common nowadays.
Yes, sir.
Child rapes.
Yes, sir.
Do you think death penalty should be imposed, the amendment to deter child rapes?
Sir, death penalty as a solution to child rape might work in short term, but I would say that what would work rather in the long term and in a more comprehensive manner is sustained level of comprehensive work between judiciary, executive, police, where everyone who acts as heinous crime is arrested and convicted for the crime. What happens is that child rape, while the killer might get death penalty in a single or double case, but 98, 97, 96% of the people still get scot free. And there is other issue that in case of making it a death penalty, there are chances that the rapist might also commit the murder of the child. So we'll have to look that as well.
Okay. Now, do you think the driving licenses
Yes, sir.
should only be issued to people who have got some minimum educational qualification? Should it be issued to illiterates?
Sir, I believe that would be discriminatory because a lot of people in India, drivers, truckers, etc., earn their livelihood through this means. And I also believe that
How
education
will it
is,
be discriminatory?
sir, because it might go against poor people who didn't have the benefit of getting education at their childhood or their adulthood. Also, I believe, sir, these are two different aspects. One might be good in academics, one might have done a lot of education background, and still might not be good at driving. And someone else who hasn't been to school, a good driver. So I think, sir,
Rajasthan High Court, they gave a ruling
yes, sir.
that after all, you have to read the signs on
Yes,
the
sir.
road.
Yes,
If
sir.
one is illiterate, how will he read the signs on the road?
Sir, that is one aspect I
Okay.
believe is correct.
Do you think there should be anonymity on the internet?
Sir, one of the advantages of internet is anonymity, that you can say what you want and you have that wheel of secrecy. But it also creates a lot of issues. We are seeing hate speech. We are seeing intolerance. That also is an aspect of anonymity. So you'll have to take both into account. Wherever necessary, government and service providers should have the liberty to take into account that that anonymity does not become a weapon in hands of miscreants.
What are the qualities of a good diplomat?
Sir, listening more, understanding everything he can, and speaking to the point, I would believe. Sir, other I would say is man management is another quality I would say that diplomat needs, where every word, his every gesture speaks a symbol, becomes a statement of the country. He's not just an individual; he's a representative of the country.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
As a head boy of school,
Yes, sir.
how many people how many students looked at you as a role model?
Sir, while none of them came and told me, I would like to believe that even if it was one or two, that would have meant a lot to me.
You believe that there were at least one or two?
Sir, I would like to believe so.
And how many thought that you were not worthy of being the head boy in the school, if there was any?
Sir, I'm pretty sure there must be some people as well, because one cannot please everyone. One can only do what one has to do.
All right. Who said child is the father of a man? You're English literature student. And
Yes, sir.
what does this really mean?
Sir, I believe it was William Wordsworth. Sir, in his poem, there is a context where he's talking about that when one is born, he is most near to God. So, in some ways, child is the father of the man. That child is more connected to that God, to that innocence, to that spiritual unity than the man itself. So, that was the context.
There's some other interpretation as well. You can read that.
Definitely, sir.
You're a sportsman. There's a girl who won Australian Open this time,
Yes, sir.
and she was classified as a neutral. What does that neutral refer to?
Sorry, sir. I'm
Okay,
not-
please read about that. It's related to a,
Yes.
anyway, the Belarusian. They didn't allow those flags to be
Yes.
unfurled there.
Yes.
Now, India and China,
Yes. Sir.
we've been having problems for the last 75 years.
Yes. Sir.
In the last few years, there's been a general belief that India is taking actions against China economically, etc., etc.
Yes. Sir.
But if you see the figures of 2021,
Yes. Sir.
the Chinese trade surplus has gone up by 50% from 2021
Yes.
to 21-22,
Yes.
from about $59 billion to about $101 billion.
Yes. Sir.
The trade deficit, China accounts for, the India-China trade deficit accounts for 64% of our overall trade deficit.
Yes.
And like that, India contributes to 11.8% of China's trade surplus.
Yes. Sir.
This is economics. When we are saying that we have done this ABCD.
Yes. Sir.
And on the border,
Yes. Sir.
there is a perception, a lot of people generally believe,
Yes. Sir.
that we have lost land. At least certainly we have lost patrolling rights to certain places.
Yes. Sir.
So, where does the truth lie? In what we are being told, or is it something else?
Sir, I believe there has been a concerted effort by the government of India to minimize the imports from China in the long term. But China being the factory of the world, it makes very difficult to decouple in 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. Especially when we are trying to create an Atmanirbhar Bharat, we are moving towards assembly, be it of mobile phones, electric gadgets, etc. That needs a lot of input from the industries in China. So that might be the reason why in the short term the trade deficit has increased. Sir, about border disputes and losing petrol rights or petrol points. Sir, I'm not in privy of the points, border points that have been lost, but there have definitely been tensions. During my training in Indian Defence and State Services, I even went to Ladakh and the border points. So there has definitely, while some of the land might have become a no-go zone or buffer zone, there was a lot of positivity in troops as well that we are giving as much as we are getting. So they are also, yes.
Okay, what is lacking in defense estate that the civilians continue to encroach upon defense land, which is under the responsibility of defense estate?
Sir, I got posted 2 weeks ago from my my first posting at Joint CO Delhi.
Okay.
Sir, from my limited understanding, there is a issue of lack of manpower. There are only 150, 160 Indian Defence Estate Service members, while the defense land is of 17.95 lakh acres. So that creates an issue. Sir, other is the issue of police. While every time we try and remove the encroachment, the effort or the help from police is lacking because the Cantonment Act 2006, while providing for that police help will be provided, doesn't provide any nitty-gritties or any guidelines of what should be done. So defense officials become beholden to the request from police, and when that would be.
So for the last 75 years,
Yes.
it is chalta hai attitude. Is that the impression that we go away with you?
No, sir, I would definitely not agree with it. Lot of land which was encroached
I
earlier.
saw that 30 years back serving in the army. I read about it today.
Sir, you're definitely more experienced than I do. Sir, I'm still learning the.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
PSIR is your optional subject.
Yes, sir.
Right. So, non-alignment movement,
Yes, sir.
was it an idealist position of foreign policy, or was it a low cost, a realist policy?
Sir, I would believe that it was an amalgamation of both. Majorly, while it was a low cost foreign policy where, without being in the camp of the two major superpowers, we were able to get our interest from both the camps. We were able to get aid from both the camps, from material from both the camps. That helped. That also helped in stopping us from getting in arms race. There was real challenge, real threat that getting into either camp would push us, and we were not economically viable. We were not economically strong enough. Sir, other I would say that from our national movement, there was a long history of non-violence. There was a long history of principle, idealism. That also acted up into it. That also had a push.
Okay. So the first phase of foreign policy,
Yes.
how would you describe it? And what would that phase be?
Sir, I would describe the first phase of foreign policy from 1947 to 1962, Indo-China War. So that was in general a good phase for India. India was seen as a leader of global South, where as a member of NAM or as a founder of NAM,
How did it end?
sir, it ended it ended very disastrously for India in 1962, and we had
And
to.
none of the NAM,
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, NAM did not
Yes, sir.
hold up or
Yes.
support India or anything
Yes.
like that.
So there were also some of the countries of NAM which were actually pro-China, and India was quite aghast with it.
Okay.
Yes.
So there are several theories of international relations.
Yes, sir.
So there is realist theory and new realist theory.
Yes, sir.
So can you generally, broadly tell me what these theories are?
Sir,
Classical realist theory?
yes, sir. Classical realist theory was brought by Morgenthau in his book The World Politics, I believe. Sir, Morgenthau believed that US foreign policy after World War II was moving too much towards liberalism, too much towards idealism. So he gave 6 principles of realism. Some of them were that idealism and realism has no connection. Realism, the main goal is power, and there is duality of power. Power, national power. Sir, if you
Okay,
don't-
okay. No problem. And the new realist theory?
Sir, neo-realist theory has been brought by Mearsheimer and Kenneth Waltz. It, rather than acting on the psychology of the individual, acts.
So in the first theory,
Yes, sir.
what are those 3 S? You want hint I can give you.
Sir, hint.
One is survival.
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm not aware about.
Second is self-help.
Self-help. Sir,
Third is state.
I'll go home and read about the 3 S's.
Great. Mearsheimer.
Yes, sir.
2 terms are there. Power maximizer
Yes, sir.
and security maximizer.
Yes.
So do you think India is a power maximizer state?
No, sir. I would believe that India is a security maximizer.
One reason only.
Sir, I think it is not in our ethos to act.
No, our policy, stated policy.
Sir, in our stated policy,
Nuclear policy
yes, sir, nuclear policy,
first use.
no first use. Yes, sir.
and alliance.
Yes, sir.
Quad.
Yes, sir.
etc.
Quad. Sir, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Abhijit,
Yes.
you belong to IDES.
Yes, sir.
One of the mandates given to the IDS officer is to carry out regular survey
Yes, sir.
of defense lands and
Yes.
cantonment board
Yes.
and all that. You just now mentioned in response to my colleague's question
Yes, sir.
that you are not getting support from the police.
Yes, sir.
Are you referring to military police
No, sir.
or the civil
Sir,
state
civil
police?
police. Sir, I was
State police.
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, on the contrary, military police has been lot of times a very beneficial and a very helpful partner to the defense estate services. It is generally the state polices because they are generally engaged with other and the priority is not given to the defense encroachment.
So, what is the way out now? If they don't help you, encroachment will go on increasing.
Sir, recently there has been Raksha Bhumi program been going on where every acre, every inch of defense land has been mapped. Recently, there have also been cases where through drones, every defense land has been mapped. So that can help us in ensuring that it doesn't happen again, or wherever it has happened, right action can be taken through concerted efforts of all the stakeholders.
Okay. Very good. 2 short questions.
Yes.
Would you support the idea of scrapping death sentence in the country?
No, sir. Sir, I believe that even in the present scenario, the rarest of the rare doctrine is used by the Supreme Court and higher courts. Sir, I think in the case that Honorable Supreme Court or High Court deem it fit that it is the rarest of the rare case, I believe that death penalty should be given.
Should be continued. So.
Sir, personally, I believe so.
Okay, okay.
Sir, but only in the rarest of the rare.
That's okay. You are already a civil servant.
Yes, sir.
Civil servants are supposed to serve the interest of the people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, if I make a statement that civil servants are required to be more ethical than the normal citizen, would you agree with this statement?
Sir, I would agree with it. So, because we are not only private individual, we are holding a chair, and every act or gesture or even word spoken or done represents that chair. So, we need to hold ourselves in higher yardstick than a normal citizen. We represent the state in a way.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Abhijit,
Yes, ma'am.
civil services, we have a lot of generalists in the service.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
way we recruit people,
Yes, ma'am.
we do not hire specialists.
Yes,
But don't you think that now the economy or the country is in more need of specialists? So maybe we could change the recruitment mechanism or something. What is your opinion on it?
Ma'am, lot of commissions have also pondered upon the same question. Ma'am, I believe that as we have entered the 21st century, the era of specialization has dawned upon us. But that doesn't mean that there is no scope for generalists. I believe that this century and India acting as global guru would need both generalists who can manage administration, who have the flexibility to move from one arena to the other. While at the same point of time, where technology is very specific, where there are specific requirements, we can also have specialists. And together, both of them can take us through.
Abhijit, you come from Uttar Pradesh.
Yes, ma'am. I've been born and brought up in Delhi. My parents come from Uttar Pradesh.
Okay. These days we see a trend of bulldozer action in Uttar Pradesh specifically. What is your opinion on the same?
Ma'am, I believe that any action taken by the state within the legal purview is all right. But in general, we should wait for the judiciary to decide if a person is guilty or not. If the person is guilty, every action should be taken against the individual, against any crime he has committed. But if he is not, then, sir, ma'am, I would believe that we should wait for a while before giving our judgment. In case of encroached land, etc., ma'am, I don't think there is any harm in.
If you had to change one thing in the constitution, when the constitution makers were designing the constitution, if you had to maybe propose one change,
Yes, ma'am.
what would it be?
Ma'am, I think some of the DPSPs which deal with economic and social rights could have been given as an equal status as fundamental rights, which were left to the wisdom of the future parliamentarians and executive.
Okay. Abhijit, you play football also.
Yes, ma'am.
Why India never makes it to World Cup?
Ma'am, I think there are a lot of issues with how architecture of football acts in India. Ma'am, one of the issues is that there is grassroots level football mechanism lacking. Whenever we go in a Western European country where football is popular, a child is picked up at age of 4, 5, 6, and he's trained in clubs, etc. While here, anyone who plays well is then chosen and groomed. I think that's a wrong strategy. Other issues are the lack of infrastructure, especially in regions where football is popular, be it Northeast, West Bengal, etc. Ma'am, also one of the reasons is that we are lacking a golden moment, like 1983 World Cup for India, which acted as catalyst for cricket. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my last question to you is, why is everyone chasing IAS? You're already a civil servant. You've got a good service.
Yes,
Why are you not happy here? Everyone wants to be an IAS. Why?
Ma'am, I'm actually happy in the service, but at the same point of time, when we start the preparation, we have that one goal. So that keeps you awake. And I have 2 attempts left. So one feels that one has worked hard for it. If one gets it, it's good. If one doesn't, I'll be pretty happy in the service as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. All the best to you.
An academy. Let's crack it.